ecosystem supports livelihoods of its inhabitants. In South Coast Kenya, Shimoni Vanga seascape is an ecologically sensitive region with resources that easily shift in abundance with changing climate conditions.
In Kwale, we have a wide range of environmental issues that we deal with, ranging from mangrove conservation, coral reef protection, we have the shoreline management, we have the inland forests, the areas of the terrestrial forests, that is the areas of Buddha, we have Shimba Hills. The area is also important, rich in minerals, and so we have extractive industry that is coming up in the county, and therefore this has to do with now sustainable extraction of minerals from within this area. Then we're also now seeing emerging industries, because now the area is opening up, so we are having now industries like steel manufacturing industries, because now infrastructure development has helped open up the county, and so we are now seeing investment going towards that. Then the construction industry is actually also having a significant impact to the environment, and therefore we are actually regulating material sources sites, which in themselves directly has a significant impact to the environment.
The natives are indigenous communities whose livelihoods and culture are closely intertwined. It is a busy landing site as each desires the fisherman's catch.
Tutabaki humu utavua madau yote kama madau 50 60 yavua mahala pamoja, patakuwa na samaki hapo.
Sasa kama tuna maziada ya samaki pale, alafu watu ya hifadhi ya maeneo yake ukali samaki wakazaliana, hii bahari yote ya Hindi ingekuwa ina samaki.
Children, young men and women alike. It is a moment of receiving what the ocean has provided.
I've actually achieved a lot in the mobilization of the various stakeholders, be it women groups, youth groups, and various interest groups in the conservation effort in the various parts of this country I've worked. Have impacted positively and utilized the positive energy that they do have in understanding what the law is and what their obligations are, and tapping such positive energy in making the various communities participate in the conservation efforts.
Fishing is the basic livelihood in the seascape. It is male-dominated, with women accounting for only 3% at the processing and small-scale trade sector. While women in the seascape have considered this a livelihood, it is not an easy venture. They have to wait, and sometimes the wait can be long depending on the tides. This takes a part of their day that could have been used for other productive work. Most of them are organized in groups to collectively buy fish from the fishermen. While men would consider selling higher value fish to the dealers, women's ability to choose is limited. Bound by traditions and culture, they're left with low value catch like the dagar, whose handling and processing is equally tedious and time consuming. They are only capable of selling such a product from their homes and with ease of quick cash.
Soko ili wale ambao watu lahai tuenda sehemu yetu maalum, unajua tukipata mzigo tutapeleka sehemu fulani, ukifika pale kwa pesa yako waje nyumbani na pesa yako bila matatizo.
Understanding the interconnectedness of ecosystems within the seascapes is essential for the sustainable use and management. This knowledge, however, is limited, especially to women who are key dependents of the resources provided by these ecosystems. Fisheries is supported by mangroves, which are key breeding grounds for fish, as well as other vertebrates and invertebrates of the sea. The status of the mangroves, however, is wanting, since they are used as fuelwood in the preparation of the dagar. Fish collected are sorted, cleaned, and then placed in large cooking pots. They are boiled to extend their shelf life, one local way of ensuring a reduction in post-harvest loss. The process is tedious and involving the use of firewood, which also has a lot of carbon emission. Studies on the status of mangroves in the Western Indian Ocean region suggest that mangroves degradation has been primarily because of human actions. The main drivers of mangrove loss is unsustainable wood extraction for charcoal, firewood, amongst other needs. Mangroves sequester carbon, and therefore burning them again is a net loss in tackling the climate change menace. Talking to one of Kwale's influential women, we engaged with Mrs. Safina Kwekwe on her thoughts about modelling the girl child and how culture has played a role in the development of women within the seascape.
Livelihoods in Kwale are mainly natural resource based. So it's either agriculture, livestock, mining, not mining per se, but quarrying. So everything is, livelihoods are derived from natural resources.
Her sentiments for the region and the girl child is of hope and possibilities. Safina explains that with role models and mentors, there are more possibilities for women and girls in Kwale and for the youth to embrace blue economy.
The blue economy, just like the terrestrial economy, is multifaceted. The blue economy is not about the sea, because when people will see, the what comes to mind for anybody is fishing, tourism. But the blue economy transcends tourism, it transcends fishing, it goes to extractives, it goes to issues of transportation and logistics. It involves even issues of just conservation, because those ecosystems have to be maintained for posterity and also for posterity. It's outsiders who can bring transformation. It is locals who can bring transformation. And we must invest in education by ensuring that we get engaged with the community, school communities. We don't have to be parents in those schools. We don't have to be leaders. We just need to ensure that the welfare of a school is well taken care of, because that is the first grooming of a responsible citizen.
With such compounding challenges, culture, nature, and the society has influence on sustainability of the seascape's resources, which also defines a woman's position. Coastal and Marine Resources Development Organization, through the Voices for Just Climate Action program, funded through WWF, engaged in improving the ocean literacy level of women. A literacy needs assessment identified gaps that exist through the trainings were conducted to build their capacity on ocean literacy. Kwale County is classified under the Asa region in Kenya. The existence of River Amber, a transboundary system emanating from the Usamburu Mountains in Tanzania, flowing into Kenya as it drains in the Indian Ocean from the Kenyan side, is important to Vanga communities. The Umban sanctuary is known for prawns production over years. However, the drought menace being witnessed in parts of East Africa has greatly reduced the water quantity in the river due to reduced rainfall. They not only depend on fishing, but also other rain-fed systems. Amongst this is farming, which is also a major activity practiced by natives. Rice schemes have been cultivated for years, reducing pressure on fishing and supporting food security in the region. Vast rice fields ranging from the irrigation scheme to individual farmers with production going to $20 per acre was previously undertaken.
Sisi tuna mashamba ya mpunga. Sisi katika kilimo hichi ambacho twakipata ni kilimo ambacho maji yake ni mto wa Umba unatoka Tanzania. Lakini maji yale yalifanya njia, yalikuja kwa wingi yakafanya njia nyingine. Kwa hiyo kilimo hichi cha mpunga ni kilimo kimekufa kabisa.
The frequency of the droughts and flash floods coupled with changing rainy seasons has made this practice impossible. The destruction of the riverbank due to unsustainable farming practices has eroded the banks and finally diverted water back to the Tanzanian side of the ocean. The farmers have been forced to revert back to fishing, a move that will not only put more pressure on the sea as records of low catches increases. Talking to Professor Edie Boga, a renowned climate change scientist, and he gives insights of the challenges in Kwale and the potential for the rice schemes and agriculture as an alternative livelihood for the region.
I think Kwale and the coast region at large is a net importer of food. So I would say it's not food secure. And most of the food that is eaten in the region comes from other regions. So by the time it arrives here, it's, from our estimates, it's almost 35% more expensive than the rest of the country. And then because of low productivity, low agricultural activities, the decline in tourism and the closure of most of the agro-processing factories that were here, like the Kilifi cashew nut and other factories like Ramisi sugar factory, all of them impacted on the livelihood and brought the communities in Kwale, but also in the coast region, to a very disparate state of poverty. Some of their cash crops, especially cashew nut, just went down from about 30,000 metric tons per hectare now to less than 30,000 metric tons annually to around 2,000 metric tons now, which is almost nothing. Also, productivity of coconut has gone down. Most of the coconut trees have aged. They're very old. They are older than 50 years old, so they're not producing as much. And they are vulnerable to climate change. When you move around, you see a lot of coconut trees that have dried up in many of the areas, especially because of the recent drought. So in essence, the communities in the coast region, although it's very rural, right now you could almost say they lack a cash crop, so they are not able to earn from their land.
Yani kama wanawake kwa ujumla, kwa huu upanzi wa mwani, wao wanapata shida nyingi sana. Na kwa shika kwao mikono, mimi naona kama ambao mostly walikuwa wakijifaidi hao wenyewe zaidi. Kwa sababu kutoka siku hizo mpaka leo mwani ni shilingi 30, basi kila siku ni shilingi 30.
And they are not able to send their kids to school without the help of some kind of bursary scheme. So poverty levels have also gone up.
As climate change impacts are felt across regions, communities, and households, one thing is clear for the win against this phenomenon.
Conserve water. When it rains, to put up water harvesting structures, especially household water pans. I'm a big fan of household water pans. I think they are key in ensuring homestead food security.
Lakini hivi sasa uvuvi unakuwa mwingi, aina ya uvuvi. Sasa samaki nao wanakamatwa kwa wingi na samaki sasa ndio wanapotea.
I think models have been done in places like Yata in Machakos, and it has worked very well. And I think the idea of big dams for storage is good for bulk water supply, but for families being able to grow their food and even do a little bit of commercial farming, I think household water pans are a better option, and they've been shown to succeed in other communities where they have been used. And I think in the case of the lower coast where we have these aquifers, they are blessed with rain, although it's no longer very predictable. Yeah, I think the challenge there would be the kind of investment that is required sort of to tap into these underground water resources. Most farmers are not able to sort of sink a borehole, install pumps and irrigate with power. It's a bit expensive. So most of them still rely on rain-fed agriculture, yeah, which makes it vulnerable because the seasons are unpredictable, and sometimes the rain comes late and ends very quickly before the crops are ready. So it has become a challenge, and it would be good if there could be some investments into this area to support farmers to grow throughout the year by exploiting these underground water resources.
Collective action is key for us to be able to change sustainable paths for man and nature. This, however, cannot be won without women on board. They are part of the solution and an opportunity to foster sustainable development goals through amplifying the collective action is always called for.